It's Gabrielle Nicolay from SpeechKids, where we teach little kids to talk and help parents understand their little kids. And have you ever noticed how babies seem to innately know how to take turns? You maybe haven't thought of it this way before, and so I just want to outline a little bit of this, because these are where we see all of the skills that are getting embedded and embedded and embedded for what we think of later as turn taking. And turn taking turns out to be a really, really important social skill, right? Social communication thing. If we think about sort of older kids playing games, turn taking is hugely important, right? If we think about adults in conversation, knowing how to take a turn in a conversation is a huge deal. We've all been in conversations where we felt like we were the ones talking too much or too little. And that is because there was a mismatch in terms of what the social expectations were, right? What are the social communication things happening? And so, but let's rewind for a second to babies. Babies are doing this almost innately. They are looking, right? So they're making eye contact. So we talked about eye contact, right? They are engaging in imitation and initiation. So they'll make a sound, for example. So an infant will say, ah, right? And what do? Automatically, we do, ah. That's turn taking, right? Because then baby does it back. Then we do it back. Then we do it back. And it becomes this circle of loveliness where everybody's hopefully happy, and sort of getting into the groove of I take a turn, you take a turn. It's initial, really, really base level turn taking. The other thing that comes up that we've been talking about is joint attention, right? So I take turns looking at something and you take turns showing me something. Regulation is another one, right? Base level skill for social communication. Here's how it gets implemented. We match each other. We take turns, we co-regulate. So we stay on the same wavelength is really what it's about, right? And we take turns sort of being in charge of that wavelength. And so that's like all pre-verbal. That's happening sort of way before anybody turns one and starts talking, right? Which is, again, I goof out about all this stuff, so hopefully you're goofing out a little bit with me too. I've got videos on all of those things: eye contact, joint attention, imitation, initiation, and there was another one, I'm looking it up right now, regulation. Okay, once kids get into preschool and school age, turn taking expands. And we talked a little bit about that. So you have to know, for example, in order to take a turn at a board game, you have to know that everybody's turn is important and that there is no game if we're not playing it together, right? So that's central coherence. That's like the point of this game is, it's not just to like that I take my turn and then I'm checked out for the rest of the time, right? It's that we're all participating together. And sometimes that can be challenging for kids with social communication issues. They take their turn because sometimes they've been taught to take their turn, but then they're not engaged in the rest of the game. And they're missing that central coherence piece, which impacts their ability to participate fully in turn taking. And then the other thing is theory of mind, right? I told you a story a while ago in a couple videos back about my little guy who really struggled because he always wanted to be first. And he didn't understand that everybody always wants to be first, even me. And I sometimes shock my kid friends when I tell them, like, I really do like to go first sometimes when we play a game. And sort of the ability to think about that impacts what? Turn taking. This is a big deal. And so it's complicated. And I know I keep saying that, but I hope that through these videos you guys are sort of appreciating how complicated social communication is. It's not just sort of, hi, how are you? Fine, thanks, how are you, right? It's all this stuff, and it's dynamic, and it changes. And so, if your kiddo has some social communication challenges, understand that it's complicated, and it's okay, and they'll get there, and we have ways of breaking it down, and we can teach a lot of these core concepts, and then some of them they will have to learn sort of from the outside in instead of from the inside out. But it's all manageable and doable. And so until next time, take care.